Nottingham Forest didn't just hire a manager in Ange Postecoglou. They lit a fuse. Ange Postecoglou's arrival isn't about survival. It is a gamble to rip up the playbook, rewrite the club's identity, and chase glory at full speed at that. But the question is and remains, will Ange Postecoglou make them contenders, or will it blow up their season? Because one thing is for sure, Nottingham Forest was in an upward projectile under Nuno Espirito Santo. So anything but that situation will be problematic and would be absolutely pie on the owner's face, Marinakis, because this was an emotional decision to me, but I believe based on how quick they have hired Ange Postecoglou, it was not a decision that was made without a solution, or made without a replacement. But we are going to be talking about it today. We are going to be giving you guys breakdowns of what we think that people should be knowing about this situation and how Ange Postecoglou is going to carry on at Nottingham Forest. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and let's get this party started. First things first, we need to talk about the strategic rationale in this situation. Ange Postecoglou is a proven trophy pathway for Nottingham Forest. Postecoglou arrives with silverware in every chapter of his career, most recently breaking the Spurs' 17-year drought after winning the Europa League, even as their league form absolutely cratered. Evangelos Marinakis explicitly framed this hire around competing with the very best and challenging for trophies. This aligns with the Forest post-Europe ambition, not just to belong, but to matter when it comes to winning those trophies. They don't just want to be there because of a tokenism that they qualified for it. They want to matter in the league. And then we look at the speed and the authority of how this move came to be. Forest sacked Nuno Espirito Santo literally hours before they hired Ange Postecoglou. And the pivot to Ange was within hours. Like I said, with the reports already saying that he has already attended training that same day. It is mind-blowing how this man has been able to convince Ange and get him in the door as quick as possible. There was no lingering. He knew who he wanted and he went out to get it. And now let's look at the owner-manager alignment on paper, because that is the key thing, because we all thought that Marinakis and Nuno were aligned on paper, but we saw that it was more to the story with the whole deteriorating relationship between Nuno and Marinakis. But in this situation, Marinakis has publicly admired Ange Postecoglou culturally and personally, citing his pride in Greek heritage and his European triumph as points for resonance between him and Ange Postecoglou. That pre-existing respect can only be grease to an early implementation of when you talk about buying. Marinakis has always loved Ange Postecoglou, and this is just an opportunity to show that he really cares and he really likes Ange Postecoglou culturally, the way he plays and the way he runs the football club. Now let's talk about the football identity, because that's something that we need to talk about. Aggressive front foot ideology is something we know as Ange Ball. High line, mate. We know that no matter what the situation is, Ange Postecoglou plays a high line. You understand? We know that. And that is a total difference between what Nuno Espirito played and what Ange might play. Because Nuno was usually drop back defense, especially when they are without the ball. A drop back defense and then press on top counter, utilizing set pieces and quick transitions to dismantle teams. Why Ange Postecoglou is the other way around. It's a high press, it's a high line, it's press the ball the moment you lose it. That is Ange Postecoglou. Well, so far in the Premier League anyway, with Tottenham Hotspur. However, it might be different because it was a different system that he used to win the Europa League against Manchester United. That still hurts with Tottenham Hotspur. So he might be understanding on how to play Premier League sides a little bit better than he did with Tottenham Hotspur. And then that is the situation. And then you look from pragmatism to protagonism. That is what he's going to be focusing on. He wants to push from the front. He wants to press from the front. The only thing that we have always heard about Ange Postecoglou is the intensity of his training. Sometimes intensity of the training can also be a negative. I know that is crazy to say, but when your team and your players are reaching a tethering point for them to get injuries, that is a problem, because we saw that with Tottenham. We saw the likes of Romero get injury, Van de Ven get injury, Destiny Udogie get injury. So many players got injury under the reign of Ange Postecoglou. And that all has to do with the amount of workload he lays on top of them during training. And I hope he fixes it before he comes to Nottingham Forest. Now let's look at the fit and the friction with the current squad. Because it has to be a thing. He's coming in the middle, not even the middle, in the start of the season. There will be an immediate clash of preparation. That is something that we got to know. Forest preseason was built on Nuno Espirito's risk-averse structure. Ange will ask many of the same players to play 10 yards higher, press on triggers, invert the fullback, and combine in tight spaces, implementing the mid-season. That in mid-season would definitely be a problem. Without a window, might I add, until January, is a sporting gamble from the heart of the hire. The truth about this situation is that Postecoglou has not gotten to take these guys on pre-season tour. These guys, yes, might be fit, but they are fit to the way they played with Nuno Espirito Santo. They are not fit to the way Ange Postecoglou will have them running this season. And then you have to look at the role reassignment to watch in this situation. Fullbacks inverting versus overlapping. Midfielders rotating into the back line in the build-up. Centre-backs defending acres in transitions. Specific questions hang over profiles like Chris Wood's ability to press and repeat. And whether Murillo plus a partner can play a high and wide without cover. That is something that would truly be a problem for Ange Postecoglou going into this Nottingham Forest side. But then you have to also look at the politics, the power, and the volatility that fit in Marinakis' boards. The Marinakis factor is something that Nottingham Forest fans absolutely understand by now. The Forest owner is hands-on, and he's very, very quick to react. Ange's principles and public-facing, that combustible mix is either alignment at speed or friction in 4K. The truth about it is that if they do not get in alignment, if that train track goes off the track even a second, we will see it in 4K. In 4K, we will see it from the start. We have already seen a high-profile breakdown with Nuno and Marinakis. But when it comes to Ange's forthrightness, he will not shrink. He will not shrink from the spotlight if differences emerge. Why? It can still work. That's the key thing, because we need to always be positive. Half glass full kind of guy. It's based on mutual respect and a shared appetite for scale and success. Marinakis wants a bigger stage. Ange Postecoglou's football is box office, to say the least. It definitely brings eye to the game. And the fan base, they definitely want something. They definitely want to win, but I know for sure that they would not mind watching good football. They won't mind that whatsoever. Now, last but not least is the European ambition and how this narrative will lift up Nottingham Forest. You understand? First things first is defend a European crown on a new stage. Ange arrives in the Nottingham Forest ground as the reigning Europa League winner. hurts me to say. Forest returned to Europe for the first time in decades, and Marinakis is openly targeting trophies. That shared European horizon is the emotional core to this hire. Forest are progonistic in May, not passengers. They want to go for it. They do not want to sit back and watch other people actually leave with the trophy. The fixture load is also a key thing, and the durability of Nottingham Forest would definitely be a big case this season. The league, the domestic club, the Europe, and intensity meets English football schedule again. Spurs, 17th place last season, finished under the weight of injuries and rhythm will be the cautionary tale for Ange Postecoglou. The bet is that Forest build and the depth plus earlier lessons might avert a repeat in the same case. Now let's look at the talking points of this situation. The owner's manifesto on the pitch. Is this hire Marinakis saying Forest does not survive, we dictate? Is that what he wants to come out and say? Use his trophy chasing quotes as the spine of the segment in this situation. That has definitely been something that Marinakis would definitely want to put as the front role of this situation. The truth is that there's a lot of situations going on with Nottingham Forest right now, and it has been going on throughout Marinakis being the owner. But there's one thing that we cannot accuse Marinakis of. We cannot accuse him of being an owner that doesn't care, because he cares so much that he lets his emotions into the game. He cares so much that his emotions absolutely dictate what he does next. And the truth about it is that Nuno Espirito Santo is out of a job today because of that emotion. And Ange Postecoglou is in a job today because of that emotion. So the truth about this situation is that we do not know if this is going to be a success or a failure. But one thing that we know, it is going to be entertaining. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that, turn on your notifications so you do not miss anything that we have to give you here on Pillar Sports. We are going to keep a close eye on Nottingham Forest because it's going to be exciting. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.